Following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the Tiafangi coming to you with an extra special video, and for those of you wondering why do I have the camera pointed up so high, it's because I decided today would be a great opportunity with the reveal of the upcoming Transformers Legacy Titan Class Cybertron Metroplex figure. This would be the perfect opportunity to do a review of the original Cybertron Metroplex figure. So released for the first time back in 2006, Cybertron Metroplex holds the title of being the physically tallest leader class Transformers figure. So yes, the title of the video is not a misleader, it's accurate. This figure is leader class sized. And for a size comparison with a more recently released leader class figure, here is the 2006 Cybertron Metroplex figure compared to the 2021 Transformers Kingdom leader class Galvatron figure. So yes, Metroplex is quite enormous. I'm trying to get my camera at an angle where I can get the whole figure on screen. There it is right there. Unfortunately, I'm having to push my hand down on my laptop, see if I can get it to an angle where I can reach it. Give me a second, please. Alright, so after a quick adjustment with my camera, here is the Cybertron Metroplex figure in full view. When he's holding his main weapon, the weapon stands slightly taller than Metroplex does. But one of the excitements about the upcoming Transformers Legacy Titan Class Cybertron Metroplex figure is that it will stand up to 22 inches tall. So depending on if you have his legs spread out or if you have his legs stamped together like this, and when the legs are together, I call this Cybertron Metroplex's Generation 1 pose. But depending on how you have him positioned, the original Cybertron Metroplex figure stands 14 inches tall, so the upcoming Legacy Titan Class Metroplex figure will easily be twice the height of this figure here. So here is Metroplex's main weapon. It's known as a axe weapon. Yet, on one end of the weapon, it has a excavating shovel, and on the other end, it has a spinning buzzsaw. Now, the reason why it's called an axe is because of this side of it right here. This is where the main gimmick from the Cybertron line back in 2005 and 2006 comes into play with Metroplex. So you push this upward, and these two little blue flaps open up, and that red triangle painted right there is to show you where you insert Metroplex's cyber key. So, bringing them out here onto the table, here are Metroplex's two accessory pieces. You've got the cyber key and his Minicon partner drill bit, who we will look at in a second. So you take Metroplex's cyber key, you insert it in here, and unfortunately, when the cyber key is inserted, the buzzsaw itself stops spinning, but that's because of the cyber key gimmick, where when you shove it in, the two halves of the buzzsaw split open, and now Metroplex has a double-bladed axe that can also shoot lasers. Now, as you just heard, this figure does come with lights and sounds. Here's the side. On the other side of the axe, you've got the battery compartment. Metroplex's weapon itself is the only part that has electronic lights and sounds. Metroplex himself doesn't actually have them, and it takes two AA batteries to work it, so there's the little LED light right where the lights come on. The loudspeaker where the sound comes out is right behind it, or right underneath it, I should say. And overall, it's a pretty cool gimmick, and I don't know how you can see, but inside, but right in there, if you look in there, there's a little gray cylinder, and that is the little LED light. It retracts inward when you remove the cyber key, so that's what makes the light turn on. And it only makes one sound. And it was the little LED light inside there was much brighter when I first bought Metroplex back in 2006. So unfortunately, time has caused the light to fade a little bit. One cool thing about the axe, though, is that you can leave the cyber key installed inside of it while Metroplex is holding on to it. Another cool feature about Metroplex's axe that I'll show off in a moment. The handle of the axe here, along with the inside of the inside sculpting detailing on Cybertron Metroplex's hands. The Metroplex has the exact same shape of hands, and his weapon has the exact same shape and shades. The handle on Metroplex's axe is the same size and the same shape, I got it right that time, as the original Cybertron Leader Class Optimus Prime is. So, just like in the cartoon show, you can have the Cybertron Leader Class Optimus Prime figure holding Metroplex's axe if you are inclined to do so. Now, unfortunately, my Cybertron Leader Class Optimus Prime figure is hidden on a shelf behind a bunch of other Transformers figures, so I didn't bring it out. But likewise, if you wanted to, you could take the original Cybertron Leader Class Optimus Prime's laser gun and have Metroplex wield it as well. So, getting his legs open back up. We will look at Metroplex in just a moment, but setting him off to the side just for a few seconds, we will take a close look at the one accessory piece that, for many Transformers fans and collectors, with the upcoming Legacy Titan Class figure, is the make it or break it deal. Cybertron Metroplex, along with the characters in the Cybertron cartoon series that came from the planet Gigantion, they were all partnered with Minicons. So to basically fill out the Unicron trilogy and tie Cybertron to the Armada cartoon series, the giant Autobots from the planet Gigantion, and even the Decepticons as well, although Menasor was the only one. And Metroplex and the other characters from the Transformers Cybertron from the planet Gigantion were partnered with little Minicons, so this is Metroplex's Minicon partner Drillbit. I personally like to call this guy Drill Bits because there was a Minicon named Drillbit who transformed into a single drill vehicle that was released in Armada. But yeah, this is Drillbit. Drillbit, he's a pretty basic Minicon. On his robot mode legs transform into a pair of dual drills, and that little orange rectangle right there is the cockpit section of the actual drill vehicle. And for those of you wondering, Drillbit, even though he is technically a brand new Minicon mold, and he's unique, he's not a repaint or retool of any other Minicons, he does, however, have the same exact engineering used on a previous Minicon, that being Leader 1/Clench, who was sold with the Armada Megatron/Galvatron figure. So this is Clench, who came with Armada Galvatron. As you can see here, looking at them from the side and from overhead, it's pretty basic to get these guys into the same exact configuration. So if you wanted to, just rotate Clench's missile pods the other way, and there, as you can see, you've got two copies of the same exact figure. The main difference being that they retooled the back so the cockpit section faces a different way. So likewise, if you want to, you could rotate the drills on Drillbit around, and you can have Drillbit in the same orientation as Clench/Leader 1. So yeah, this is technically an entirely brand new mold, but it does have the same identical engineering and transformation gimmick as this Minicon, as Megatron/Galvatron's Minicon partner from Armada. So, there's that. That one transformed. Unfortunately, this tray I'm using doesn't like to sit flat on my carpeted floor. So, if you look at the underside of the vehicle mode, there is Drillbit in his robot mode. So, getting him into his official vehicle configuration. So, to transform Drillbit is as basic as it comes. Take the figure, have it facing this direction, straighten out the drill sections themselves, and then rotate the drill bits around. On my copy of Drillbit, they've always been a little tight, and now that the figure is much older than it used to be, I'm always careful with it. So take the drill bits, you rotate them around to that, and they just sit off the back of Drillbit's legs, and then take these gray pieces right here, which, with those ridges on those right there, they're supposed to be hydraulics for the drills. That's why they were sitting at the angles that I had them in. Rotate them around, and they become the arms. And there is Drillbit in his robot mode. This is pretty standard articulation for the Unicron Trilogy Minicons. The arms can rotate at the shoulders up and down. They have the potential to swing around 360 degrees, but as you can see right there, there is no clearance to get past the smaller wheels that sit on on Drillbit's thighs. So unfortunately, the arms, even though they have the potential to rotate 360 degrees, there is no chance of that actually happening. The legs can go forwards and backwards up to 180 degrees, but when you bend the leg backwards, you need to unfortunately get the drill out of the way, because if you don't, it'll hit drill bit in the back and stop the leg from articulating outward fully. Really, if you rotate the arms upward and get them out of the way, drill bit has a far greater amount of forward kicking action, and of course he has hinge joints at the knee, but unfortunately, again, you do have to move the drills out of the way. To get the full articulation of drill bit's robot mode working properly. So trying to straighten them out as best as I can. And so here is drill bit once again with Armada Galvatron's Minicon partner Clench. Again, they are entirely separate molds, but they have virtually identical engineering in the design. The robot modes are the same proportions, and the vehicle modes have the same proportions. As I dropped both of them by accident on camera. They don't want to cooperate, they're camera shy, so Clench and drill bit, even though they're vehicle modes, you technically have to move the robot mode legs in different positions. They have the ability to transform the exact same way, so by all accounts, these two Minicons are one of the many examples of where Transformers action figures that are entirely different molds appear to be mold mates. They give the optical illusion of being mold mates because they have the exact same type of engineering that went into their design. Now for those of you wondering just how small are these Unicron Trilogy Minicons, again, this tray that I'm using to prop these up, it doesn't want to sit flat on my floor, so it's at an angle. But for a size comparison with a more recently released tiny-sized Transformers figure, this is Autobot Sights, who was released with the Transformers Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Autobot Jackpot figure. So these Minicon, the Unicron Trilogy Minicons are slightly smaller than the the Battle Masters that were sold in the War for Cybertron Trilogy Siege line. So even though Sights is a pterodactyl and these Minicons are humanoid robots, they are roughly the same size, leaving Sights' wings folded in. You can see here, pretty much the same size overall. So yes, these Minicons are, I want to say that even though, again, Sights is a pterodactyl, he is slightly larger than these Minicons are. Just for a quick size comparison with a more humanoid Battlemaster. I can't remember the name of this Battlemaster off the top of my head, but here is one of the humanoid Battlemasters that was sold with the Sparkless Seeker. This, I believe, is the zombie or sparkless version of Caliburst. So yes, there's a lot more articulated joints on the War for Cybertron Trilogy Battlemasters compared to the Minicons from the Unicron Trilogy. Ball joints at the shoulders and ball joints at the hips. But the fact that these Minicons have knee joints and the modern day Battlemasters don't, the amount of articulation is pretty evened out. So yeah, the War for Cybertron Trilogy Battlemasters are about the same exact size as these Minicons from the Unicron Trilogy. So if we get any Minicons released in the Legacy line, they'll hopefully, if Hasbro and Dakar Tomi's goal is to be as accurate to the source material as possible, the Minicons, any future Minicon figures will hopefully be the same size as the Battlemasters and also the Micromasters from the War for Cybertron Trilogy lines of Siege, Earthrise, and technically there weren't any Battlemasters sold in Kingdom or Micromasters even, but you get the idea. So yeah, so setting those other figures off to the side. Now to transform drill bit. build it from his vehicle mode into what I like to call his Targetmaster mode for Metroplex X, because this is how you're supposed to transform Drillbit when you attach him to Metroplex. So this is one of the most complex transformations you could ever design, especially for a Minicon. So to transform Drillbit into his what I like to call his Targetmaster mode when he's interacting with Metroplex, make sure it's straightened out, and yeah, that's it. All you have to do, going from vehicle mode, is straighten out his robot mode legs, and there is Drillbit in his Targetmaster mode, or partner mode, or Metroplex mode, and this is the mode he's in when you attach him to Metroplex. So, going from robot mode, you just flip the arms around so they're on his back, and then fold out the drills from behind his legs, and voila. Technically, you're supposed to flip it upside down, so you actually have Drillbit's robot mode head and torso staring at you, since his Minicon port is behind his head right there. But yeah, there is Drillbit in his Targetmaster mode for Metroplex. And when Metroplex is in his robot mode, when I'm displaying Metroplex on the shelf, as you saw in the photo I used for the thumbnail of the video, that was the shelf where I currently have Metroplex sitting on. He's surrounded by my other Unicron Trilogy figures. So yeah, there is Drillbit attached to Metroplex. I can't remember, it's been a while since I've watched the Cybertron cartoon series, but I believe Drillbit was shown sitting on one of Metroplex's arms like that, at like a drill Targetmaster partner. We will get to how you attach Drillbit to Metroplex when we get Metroplex transformed into his vehicle mode in a moment. So, setting the axe off to the side, I guess I could show it right now. So, when Metroplex is transformed into his vehicle mode, you take the axe weapon, and this is it sitting on top of Metroplex's vehicle mode like this, and then you take Drillbit, and what actually happens is, right there, in the center of Drillbit's robot mode torso, where his body is the skinniest at, it's basically sandwiches in between these two rectangular eggs right here at the bottom section of Metroplex's axe. And yes, it's just friction that's keeping Drillbit there. You attach Drillbit like that to the edge of the axe, and now Metroplex, in addition to having a shovel on his axe, he now has a pair of drills at the end, and to coincide with the large chainsaw on the other end. So, setting Metroplex's axe off to the side, we will take a look at Metroplex itself. Now, as I said, the title of the video is not misleading. Metroplex is, in fact, a Leader Class Transformers figure, and I found a photo showing online how Metroplex looked. So, back in 2006, when you bought Cybertron Metroplex for the first time, I think I'm doing this correctly. Yeah. See, give me a second, please. I forgot what I was doing. Okay, so I figured it out. After staring at a photo for a couple of minutes or seconds, rather. But the reason why Metroplex was successfully sold as a Leader Class figure, despite his enormous size, is because when you bought Metroplex for the first time inside of his box, he was packaged, transformed like this, with his legs folded up so he could actually squeeze inside the same size box as the other, much shorter Leader Class Transformers figures in. So these days, Hasbro, I can't even remember another Transformers figure where Hasbro purposely transformed the figure with the legs folded up to the side so that it could purposely be sold at a smaller size class than it would otherwise be. For those of you wondering, Cybertron Metroplex is the same height as another figure from the Transformers Cybertron line, that being Starscream. Cybertron Starscream holds the title of being the physically largest Starscream figure ever sold in 2014, it was repainted in G1 colors for the Transformers Platinum Edition line. And Cybertron Starscream was sold in the now defunct Supreme size class. Supreme class Transformers were the same height, roughly the same height that Cybertron Metroplex is. They stood between 14 to 15 inches tall, and the Supreme class figures had a retail price tag originally of $60. That's what I paid for Cybertron Starscream back when he was released for the first time in 2005. Metroplex was released in one of the last waves of... Actually, I think he might have been released in the very last wave of Leader class figures in the Cybertron line in 2006. And at the time in 2006, brace yourselves for this, Leader class Transformers in 2006 still cost you... Pause for a moment, pause for effect. $40. That's right. This 14-inch tall Transformers figure, Cybertron Metroplex, you could originally get him back in 2006 when he was released for just $40. So this is what I like to call his package mode. When you open if you find a copy of Cybertron Metroplex still in the box when you buy it for the first time, this is what he's going to look like, with his legs folded up and facing the wrong direction. So, as you can hear right there, like most of the modern day Titan class Transformers figures, Cybertron Metroplex, almost all of his joints, especially the ones in all the joints in his legs, they're heavy ratchet joints and they click. The really loud ones you heard were these ratchet joints right here in the middle of his shins. That's actually a transformation joint, going to get him transformed into his vehicle mode. So now that we have Metroplex in robot mode, his head is on a swivel joint so he can look left and right 360 degrees. Technically Metroplex can look up, but that's because of this panel section that opens up when you transform Metroplex into his third mode that I haven't mentioned so far. His ears, his antenna are separate pieces, and so because they are such thin blue pieces, Metroplex's antenna tend to get lost easily, and I've seen quite a few copies of Cybertron Metroplex being sold on eBay where his ears were missing. So the ears along with his... So yeah, the Metroplex's ears are the one part of him that gets lost easily, along with his other accessory pieces, drill bit, the cyber key, and of course the battle axe. One thing to know, just to pause for a moment to share some brief history from the Cybertron line. In the Transformers Cybertron toy line, the characters that were known as the planetary leaders, their cyber keys doubled as the cyber planet keys. These in the Cybertron toy line, so Metroplex's purple and gold cyber key doubled as the cyber planet key for the giant planet Gigantian in the Cybertron line. So if you wanted to have a separate cyber key for the Gigantian cyber planet key, you had to buy 2 copies of Cybertron Metroplex and donate the second copy of Metroplex's key to the Omega Lock that came with the Supreme Class Primus figure. So, almost all of the joints on Metroplex are loud, clickety ratchet joints, so his arms can have the potential to move 360 degrees at the shoulder, forwards and backwards. There's a heavy ratchet joint that allows the arms to rotate inward and outward like that. Even at the bicep, you might think that they're swivel joints, but those are ratchet joints as well. Hinged elbows. The only articulation Metroplex has in his hands is you can open and close his fingers. On this side, they're a little stiff. But yeah, right there, that's the only articulation Metroplex has in his hands, is that as his fingers can open and close, and they are on just one hinge joint as well. He can rotate at the waist. It's a ratchet joint as well. I believe all of Metroplex's joints are ratchet joints. The only swivel joint Metroplex has is the swivel joint in his neck, and that is so stiff and loose, I am very afraid of rotating that. But yeah, ratchet joint at the waist, ratchet joint at hips, so his legs can go forwards and backwards that far. Ratchet joints in the thighs, ratchet joints in the knees, ratchet joints in the ankles, and this is one of the few points that a lot of Transformers collectors are saying why they're going to get the upcoming Legacy Titan class Cybertron Metroplex figure. The upcoming Titan class figure has ankle rockers, so Metroplex's feet can sit on a flat surface. It was perfectly fine. On Cybertron Metroplex, he does not have any ankle rockers, so if you sprawl him with his legs out, he will, unfortunately, be sitting with his feet elevated off the air. So, pretty much, what Metroplex is actually standing on when you have his legs sprawled out is right here, the very tips of the inside of his feet. Fortunately, the tank treads are only painted off the side. The bottom of Cybertron Metroplex's feet are unpainted white plastic, so there's no fear of paint scraping if you decide to display Cybertron Metroplex on the shelf with his legs sprawled out. Now, I mentioned that Metroplex has a third mode, and I will get to it right now. The third mode is my least favorite of Metroplex's modes, but I apologize. Metroplex is very dusty. I tried to clean him off as best I could, but I forgot to clean off this part of him for his to show off his inner robot mode. Getting those right there. Get these ratchet joints to round. Unfortunately, with the ratchet joints in Metroplex's legs, the only connectors you have are the 5mm pegs that actually connect the legs together there at Metroplex's feet, and here at 5mm peg at the robot mode knees. So this is Metroplex in his third mode. Cybertron Metroplex is a triple changer, but unlike the Generation 1 triple changers, such as Blitzwing, Astrotrain, Springer, Sandstorm, Broadside, and Octane, instead of having one robot mode and two vehicle modes, Cybertron Metroplex has one vehicle mode and two robot modes. So this is Metroplex in his smaller robot mode. He's much closer in height to the other leader class figures from the Cybertron line, and bringing it out again. And here is Kingdom Galvatron. So this is what the much taller robot mode is. Metroplex's regular robot mode, the one he's shown transformed into most of the time in the Cybertron cartoon show. This is what I like to call Metroplex's defensive robot mode when he's not in combat and he's not fighting any enemies. This is this smaller robot mode is what Metroplex transforms into, so I call it his defensive or civilian robot mode, if you will. Where he doesn't have to show off his whole height right when he's fighting opponents. This third mode of Metroplex, his smaller robot mode, it's always been my least favorite mode of Cybertron Metroplex. I feel like there isn't too much point to Metroplex having his robot mode like this, especially when you consider the fact that his robot mode legs are halfway transformed into his vehicle mode in this position, and of course his standard robot mode torso just ends up sitting on him like an enormous backpack. That's one thing about Cybertron Metroplex. He doesn't have a backpack to him. He doesn't have much of a backside to him, so it makes him look somewhat skinny in that regard. But it's something that I would much rather prefer him using. And unfortunately, this is one of the main reasons why I don't like Metroplex's small robot mode, is because the axe is unfortunately too small for Metroplex to actually use when he's in this mode. Hopefully it will stay in his hand. So yeah, even with the ratchet joints sprawled out, this is pretty much the only way you can get the axe to lay on the ground with Metroplex holding it in his small robot mode like this. I believe it was only in the first episode of the Cybertron cartoon when he appeared in that Metroplex was shown transformed into his smaller civilian robot mode. Throughout the rest of the Cybertron series, he was shown transformed into his actual robot mode, where he was all the way up here. But yes, for those of you who For those of you who don't have a shelf that really supports that's tall enough for Metroplex to stand on when he's at his full height of 14 inches tall, you can transform him into this smaller robot mode, and he'll be closer in height to the other leader class figures from the Cybertron line. So while we're here in the inner robot mode, we're technically halfway through transforming Metroplex into his main vehicle mode. And this is yet another reason why I don't really like Metroplex's smaller robot mode, because you're actually closer to Metroplex's vehicle mode when you have him transformed into his actual robot mode. Rotating Metroplex around. So, when you know what you're doing, it can be pretty easy to transform Metroplex. It's just been a long time since I actually had to do it, so just bear in mind with me for a few seconds. So, get that out, rotate this, like that, straighten that out, make sure it's locked into place, even though it doesn't really lock into place. Bring this forward, and then this is an important key feature when you transform Metroplex into his vehicle mode. These two little bits on his robot mode chest, they are additional connector pieces, so you have to bring them down and connect them to those parts on Metroplex's shins like that. And unfortunately, those two tiny little hinge joints are the two pieces that actually hold the front and back halves of Metroplex's vehicle mode together. So it is so I haven't seen too many photos where those have broken before, but it is quite easy unfortunately to break them, and nevertheless. Then you take Metroplex's robot mode head, rotate it around like this, and in a nod to the Generation 1 version of Metroplex, this piece of plastic right here that doubles as light piping for Metroplex's robot mode, it ends up becoming the windshield of the cockpit section for Metroplex's vehicle mode. That's a really nice feature like that, at having Metroplex stand like that. So, trying to get make sure everything's sitting properly. One of the drawbacks with Metroplex is right here his robot mode arms slide up and down on this track section right there. To transform him between both of his robot modes. And unfortunately, with time, they do like to sag backwards. So Metroplex's back treads, which are sculpted here on his robot mode forearms, they do like to sag backward and prevent Metroplex from sitting flush with the ground. And right here. So the next thing you do is take the axe weapon, and there's actually two spots you can put the axe weapon. The axe attaches via two very shallow, I think these actually might be 6mm ports, or it's on there, and they plug into these peg holes right here on the very top of Metroplex's vehicle mode. You can do this one right here if you want Metroplex to have full use of both the if you want Metroplex to have full use of both of his weapons, the buzzsaw and the steam and the bucket shovel and the excavation shovel with drill bit, but you can attach it right there. But the cartoon accurate place for it, which is also the spot where I like to keep it attached, is right here. And you can use the joints here in the axe to position the steam shovel however you want. I like to do it like this so it makes it look almost like Metroplex has a somewhat sauropod dinosaur look to his construction, to his vehicle mode, to like modern construction vehicles. But with the axe attached on top, here is Cybertron Metroplex in his vehicle mode, and from what I've read on the Transformers Wikipedia, Metroplex's vehicle mode is a science-fictional construction vehicle. I saw a photo someone put on TFW 2005 a moment ago where there are some mining vehicles that are similar to this, but in terms of the overall aesthetic, as far as what exactly Cybertron Metroplex's vehicle mode is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a construction vehicle that it doubles as an excavator and a saw cutting vehicle that is basically the size as a skyscraper. Unlike Generation 1 Metroplex, who is the size of an entire city, Cybertron Metroplex is the size of one building. I believe Cybertron Metroplex stands as tall as a 7 or 8 story building in the Cybertron cartoon, if I'm correct. And that's one thing about Cybertron Metroplex, is that he is size accurate next to the small Legends class sized figures from the Cybertron line, not the official sized figures. So unfortunately, I don't have any tiny sized Optimus Prime figures to bring out to compare with Metroplex, but the core class figure of Optimus Prime that was released in the Kingdom line last year, that is a decent sized version of Optimus Prime compared to Metroplex here. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is for Metroplex as far as gimmicks go. Oh, and his vehicle mode, the excavation shovel with drill bit on top. You can rotate it up and down. The shovel itself can open almost 180 degrees, so you can on Metroplex pick up fairly large objects with this thing. And just like in robot mode, if you remove the cyber key, the buzzsaw can spin forwards and backwards 360 degrees. And just like in robot mode, if you insert the cyber key, the main gimmick with Metroplex, X of activating his lights and sound, still works in vehicle mode. So yeah, you only get one sound effect with Cybertron Metroplex, but considering how enormous he is how accurate he is to the original Cybertron cartoon show, and his gimmicks of his Minicon partner Drillbit and the cyber key, the electronic lights and sounds, he is a pretty cool figure still, and he remains one of my all-time favorite figures from the Transformers Cybertron line. For years, this was the only figure of Metroplex that I had in my Transformers collection, so that's why it's always had a special place in my heart. It wasn't actually until about 3 weeks ago when I finally got the Generations Titan Class Metroplex figure that was released in 2013. I bought it last month in March of the current year, 2022. So yeah, this was my only Metroplex figure for the last I'm trying to do the math in my head. The last 16 years, this was the only Metroplex figure I had in my Transformers collection. So, for my thoughts about the upcoming Legacy Titan class figure, pretty much where it has the original Cybertron Metroplex figure beat is more modern day points of articulation, swivel joints, ball joints, ankle rockers, and that's been sacrificed with removing all the gimmicks that you got here on Metroplex's axe weapon. I believe the buzzsaw can still spin around, but the electronic lights and sounds have been removed. The cyber key is not included, and most infamously, from the photos that were leaked today, drill bit is not included with Cybertron Metroplex, but it has some collectors hopeful that possibly we might get a core class figure of drill bit in the Legacy line, since all of the partner robots for the Titan class size Transformers characters have been sold separately. But yes, all in all, I really enjoy having the original Cybertron Metroplex figure in my Transformers collection. Again, he stands 14 inches tall. He is physically the third largest Transformers figure from the original Cybertron line. The only figures bigger than Metroplex are Primus and Starscream, because they were sold as Supreme class figures. But if you stand Metroplex up in his full robot mode, he is the same height as Primus and Starscream are. So yes, Cybertron Metroplex still holds the title of being the physically tallest leader class figure that's ever been released. So thank you to all my subscribers for your continued support. This has been the TFN Geek. This has been my review of the original Transformers Cybertron. Cybertron Leader Class Metroplex figure. If you can find this figure for a decent price, I highly recommend getting it. Even though it's a figure from the Transformers Cybertron line in 2006, it still serves as a pretty great 8 Metroplex figure. And even if you want to use it as a different character, it's still character and you want to include it with your lineup of Generation 1 Transformers characters, it's still a pretty fantastic figure to have in your collection. The only gripe I have with Cybertron Metroplex in his vehicle mode is that there's no place for his robot mode hands to hide away in. But I can forgive it due to the sheer bulk of it. And the fact that this figure retailed for just $40 when it was released in 2006, that is a positive for me. Thank you guys all so much, and until next time you guys, stay safe, stay healthy, keep an eye out for my other upcoming reviews, and until next time you guys, transform and roll out. Goodbye everyone.